Knowles on the news. Susan Knowles.
Hi, everybody. Here we are back again. I hope everyone is having a great week so far. Let's keep that up. Well, we're back to discussing, of course, what's going on in the election. What's going on around the election is even as interesting as what's going on during and about the election. I don't know if you heard, but Megyn Kelly from Fox News and Newt Gingrich had a little tiff last night on air, and it was pretty interesting. And I want to play a clip for you. It's about 3 minutes long. I've kind of done a little editing on that clip, but what I'm going to play for you is unedited. And I want you to just hear what I feel are some points that were being made that are, it's probably the most important part of the whole video and the whole tape. So I want to get that in for you, and then I'm going to talk to you and give you my perspective on what I think is going on.
I mean, you want to know why Donald Trump's had a rough time?
If Trump is a sexual predator, that
is...
He's
not a sexual predator.
Okay,
you
that's
can't
your
say
opinion.
That.
I'm not taking a position
defend
on
that
it.
statement.
I'm
sick and tired of people like you using language that's inflammatory, that's not true.
Excuse me, Mr. Speaker.
Donald
you
Trump
have no idea whether it's true or not. What we know is that there are at least...
Neither do you.
That's right, and I'm not taking a position on it, unlike
yes, you are. When you use the words, you took a position.
So what
I think
said
it's very
is
unfair of you to do that, Megyn.
Incorrect.
I think that is exactly the bias people are upset by.
I think that your defensiveness on this may speak volumes, sir.
No,
what I said
let me just
is...
suggest to you.
No. Let me make my point, and then I'll give you the floor. What I said is, if Trump is a sexual predator, then it's a big story. And what we saw on that tape was Trump himself saying that he likes to grab women by the genitals and kiss them against their will. That's what we saw. Then we saw 10 women come forward after he denied actually doing it at a debate to say that was untrue. He did it to me. He did it to me. We saw reporters. We saw people who had worked with him, people from Apprentice, and so on and so forth. He denies it all, which is his right. We don't know what the truth is. My point to you is, as a media story, we don't get to say the 10 women are lying. We have to cover that story, sir.
Oh, sure. Okay, so it's worth 23 minutes of the three networks to cover that story. And Hillary Clinton, in a secret speech in Brazil to a bank that pays her $225,000, saying her dream is an open border where 600 million people could come to America. That's not worth covering.
That is worth
covering. You want to go back
and
through the tapes of your show recently? You are fascinated with sex, and you don't care about public policy.
Me?
Now, that's
really?
what I get out of watching you tonight.
You know what, Mr. Speaker? I'm not fascinated by sex, but I am fascinated by the protection of women and understanding what we're getting in the Oval Office. And I think the American voters would like to know.
And therefore, we're going to send Bill Clinton back to the East Wing because, after all, you are worried about sexual predators.
Yeah, listen, it's not about me. It's about the women and men of America. And the poll numbers show us that the women of America in particular are very concerned about these allegations and in large part believe that they are a real issue. And don't dismiss the women summarily.
Do you want to comment on whether the Clinton ticket has a relationship to a sexual predator?
We, on the Kelly File, have covered that story as well, sir. I will tell you the polls.
I want to hear you use the words. I want to hear you use the words, Bill Clinton, sexual predator. I dare you. Say Bill Clinton, sexual predator.
Mr. Speaker,
disbarred by the Arkansas bar? Disbarred by the Arkansas bar. $850,000 penalty?
Excuse me, sir. We on the Kelly File have covered the Clinton matter as well. We've hosted Kathleen Willey. We've covered the examples of him being accused as well, but he's not on the ticket. And the polls also show that the American public is less interested in the deeds of Hillary Clinton's husband than they are in the deeds of the man who asks us to make him president, Donald Trump. We're going to have to leave it at
Ooh, well, one of the things that you noticed there, I think, in listening to that is that Megyn Kelly does not like to be called out whatsoever. Megyn is in control, and you're supposed to understand that and not question that. You know, she is the big star of Fox News, and we just can't have anybody coming in there and questioning Megyn. Couple of things. I do want to say I do respect her for the fact that she is an attorney, former practicing attorney, I suppose, and I do think that she does a very good job of questioning people. She knows how to ask them the right questions. She knows how to get the answers that she wants, and she knows how to control the conversation. Well, that's great in a courtroom. It really is great in a courtroom. But when you're talking to somebody on her Kelly file, I'm not sure how great that is. But, a lot of people really like that. The one thing that I really dislike about her, and I have to say this to you because I want to, give you full disclosure on it. I did not, and all of you know that I was in the beginning very much pro Ted Cruz. That's who I was voting for. If the case had ended up the way that I thought it was going to, I would have been voting for Ted Cruz. However, I did not like, even in the first debate when I was pro Ted Cruz and Ted Cruz was still in, I didn't like the way that Megyn Kelly questioned Donald Trump. It seemed like the questions to him were different than everybody else. And I think in a way she really pretty much talked down to him in the questions. It was, they were just kind of just stupid. Like, oh, well, I know that you're stupid, Donald Trump, so I'm going to talk to you this way, and I'll talk to everybody else a different way. That's the way I got it. And I think when you have somebody on, especially when you're moderator with all the candidates, you have to treat them both or all of them with respect. You don't just talk down to one and treat one differently than everybody else. And I think that's what she did. I really do. But anyway, getting back to what happened. She makes a big case in the video that, I didn't, I made accusations that Donald Trump was a sexual predator. I never said that he was. Well, there's a way that she phrased that, in my opinion, that didn't come out to amount to an accusation, so much so that if somebody listening to it would have said, oh, it's an accusation, and not you're just saying that he is. Because it was more, let's implant in your mind that he is a sexual predator. And again, she's an attorney. She knows words. She knows how to craft the words such that she can get her point across. She said, if Donald Trump is a sexual predator. Okay, the word if, yes, I understand. If makes it sound like an accusation. If so-and-so is this, then that. Okay, I understand. But if you're a moderator, if you're an attorney, you understand that what you're saying has a lot of significance. And so you have to be very careful about what you say. So if she had said, okay, Mr. Gingrich, if the reports about Donald Trump and the allegations against him are true, that he is a sexual predator, blah, blah, blah. Okay, that would have been different. Maybe using the word accusation, maybe the word allegation would have been great. But just saying if, and a lot of people out there who are listening to the Kelly file, they're not so up on the significance of words, and they may take that as, oh, okay, he's a sexual predator, or that's what everybody thinks. So I think she needed to clarify that quite a bit, and she didn't. And then when Newt was talking to her and saying, well, you haven't said that much about Bill Clinton. Now, I have some issues with talking about Bill Clinton. First of all, Bill isn't going to be the president, hopefully. But, we have to start directing things. Well, it's almost too late to do that now, but you need to change the way that things are directed. I mean, in this campaign, in this election, if you want to go against Hillary, you have to go against Hillary, not her husband. Yes, he was president, and that makes it different than, let's say, going after Michelle Obama when you're talking about Obama. And so it puts Bill in a different category, although he's always been in a different category, if you know what I mean. But he's in a different category, but we still shouldn't focus on him. The American public doesn't care what Bill Clinton did years ago because he's not running for president. And on that end of it, I kind of agree with him. While I would like for it to be a big issue, it's not going to be. And I think the voters are out there going, that are really pro-Hillary supporters. They're saying, well, I don't care what her husband did. I just know she's wonderful. Okay, so you need to focus on her and saying what she did and leave Bill out of it. And I know Newt was saying, well, yeah, but he's going to be in the East Wing. Yeah, so him and China and everybody else is going to be, and the Muslim Brotherhood are going to be in the East Wing as well. So But let's focus on her. I do think that Megyn, it is interesting for her to say, I think your defensiveness may speak volumes. Really? So what does your defensiveness speak volumes of, Megyn? Because it does. And I don't know if hers is so much that she's so against Donald Trump and she tries to act like she's not, or if it's, something totally different. But she has issues that she's not willing to address, obviously. And then she can make Newt look like, he's so screwed up. We've got to help poor Newt. It's kind of the way it was. And also, what I didn't like about what Megyn tried to do this time was she tried to use the bus talk from 11 years ago. And the people that have come forward and people that have come forward on the Apprentice to accuse him. Oh, and let's not forget the porn star who happened to come forward on the day that she was launching her website. I'm sure that was just a coincidence. Those people coming forward is sort of using that as proof that, quote unquote, the allegations are truthful. As I've said before, I don't know if the allegations are or not truthful or not, but we can't start, well, we've already done that, but we can't keep condemning people in this country for the fact that there are accusations against them. There are accusations almost all the time from the left to the right when the left isn't getting their way. We've seen this over and over again. So if you're going to start believing everything that now about what the left says and the allegations, then nobody's going to be good enough for anything because everybody on the right is going to be guilty of something according to the left. So, if these people, the people that came forward, and Megyn didn't mention this, there are a couple of women who have come forward and even their own relatives have said, no, that didn't happen. Or somebody else has said, no, I was there. I didn't see that. Or, she got angry because he wouldn't accept her dinner invitation to her new restaurant or whatever the case may be. So, again, these are almost in some ways just side issues because there's nobody that's come forward that anybody else has said, yeah, I was there. I saw what happened that same day. Because I was standing right there. Now, I know it's difficult because in this country, we want to make sure that we don't victimize the victim again, and I get that. But it's so odd to me, as it is a lot of in these situations with high-profile people, that nobody says anything at all until they're running for president or running for some type of office or whatever. And I don't get that. I think that, and I understand, being a victim, it's hard to come forward at times. And then maybe you wait for that right moment and then you come forward and you say something. And then you do open yourself up to being victimized again. I don't think anybody wants to victimize the women who are truly victims if there are any in the Donald Trump case. But what they want to do is, because it is such a high stakes thing, the election is who's going to be the president of the United States is very high stakes. You want to make sure that people just aren't believed at the drop of a hat, and I can understand that, and I think that's the fair thing to do. And I don't think Megyn Kelly necessarily went into that as much as she should have. Again, she's trying to make a point, and her point is, she's not for Donald Trump. There's no love lost there. And she can sit there and say, well, we've done this on the Kelly file, and we've done that, and Fox News, oh my gosh, no, we're not for Donald Trump. I don't know, everybody sees things differently, but I just, you know who you know. You know that Sean Hannity is for Donald Trump, and Megyn Kelly is against Donald Trump. That's all there is to it. And they can both have their own opinions. I don't care about that, but don't act like, don't sit there and act like you're what Newt's saying to you isn't true. That he's calling you out. He knows that you're not for Donald Trump, and you're sitting there going, "Oh no, I never said that." We've covered this on the Kelly file. We're fair and balanced. Yeah, right, okay, just like CNN is. But I think Newt had a good point too when he said, people can spend 23 minutes on 3 different networks covering the stories about Donald Trump, but they don't spend that much time on Hillary. And they really don't. I mean, if you watch the news at all, you would think that Hillary's not even running for president at times. The only time you really see anything about her is when she's at a rally. I mean, you do see that, and I can't even go there and watch this on Facebook Live. I really can't. The screeching voice, is too much for me. And the fact that when I look at her, I think of the 4 dead men in Benghazi, that nobody is really bringing up all that much. And I understand people don't want to bring that up because, that's old news. We didn't find anything wrong. We can't bring it up because, nobody found anything against her. Yeah, what about all the emails that are coming out? How come nobody's talking about those? Really? I mean, and Megyn made a point. She's like, well, let's just say that Hillary Clinton was corrupt. I mean, I'm sitting here thinking, yeah, well, that's like saying the sun rises in the east and sets in the west. I mean, it's a given, but okay. So she's saying that, and then goes on to say, but if she was corrupt, she was corrupt yesterday, today, and 5 years ago, and so blah blah blah. Well, no, not really, Megyn. There are things that are coming out that haven't been talked about that prove her corruption that we didn't have information on before. And it's called WikiLeaks, with the emails. Emphasis on that. So she could have taken an opportunity at that point to kind of bring some of those things up to show that she wasn't biased against Donald Trump, but she didn't take that opportunity. She just kind of went on and berating, Newt, and then Newt has to bring up to her, well, you're when he said you're fascinated with sex, I think he was really implying Fox News, but she took it as herself, of course, and then has to turn it around and say, oh, well, I'm not fascinated with sex. I'm fascinated with the fact that women think that Donald Trump, they have some concerns about Donald Trump. Well, see, I don't need Megyn Kelly to be my spokesperson for all women. I know she was saying that she was looking at polls. Okay, what polls? We didn't even talk about that. Is she making this stuff up? What is she looking at, a Fox poll, a CNN poll, or something else? Didn't say. And then she turns it from you'll hear her say, first of all, it's about women's concern. And then realizing, oh, wait, I've left other people out. I can't do that. That's politically incorrect of me. So I've got to go back. And then she'll say men and women concerned. Again, I don't need Megyn, and I don't think the rest of the country needs Megyn to be our spokesperson. That's like Hillary Clinton having to be the spokesperson for all African Americans. I mean, that's what she's trying to do because Obama is turning over the reins to her now. Okay, all right, well, you're not black, but you're the next best thing, and you're a Democrat, and a progressive. So I'm going to give you the reins now, and you can be the keeper of all black people. Because, you remember Obama coming out and saying, oh, I'm going to take this personal, if all you black people who I know follow me, love me, and think that I'm the bomb, if you don't continue to do that and go out and vote for Hillary, then I'm going to take it personally. So now Hillary can be the keeper of all African Americans, and they can go out and, of course, vote for her because all African Americans always just vote for her or Obama or whoever they're told to. They don't think about it, which absolutely, and I say that when I just said that very sarcastically, because there are plenty of African Americans who are basically tired of the fact that they've been lied to, and they know they've been lied to, and they continuously are lied to. And they're starting to wake up to the fact that here's somebody in Donald Trump that they can put their faith in and they can believe in, and they can say, wow, and yeah, he sounds like he's saying a lot of the things that are concerning me, and I'm going to take a look at least at him. I don't know if they're going to go out and vote for him. I don't know. They want to make you think that all Latinos and Hispanics and Latinas are going to go out and vote for Hillary Clinton. But I don't necessarily think that's true either. I think a lot of these people, honestly, that Obama is signing up, all the illegals that he's brought in here, and people from Syria and anybody else that he can, it would not surprise me that they are signing these people up, registering them to vote, and telling them if you go vote and you vote for Hillary, then we'll grant you amnesty. I mean, it's not far-fetched. They may not say it in exactly those same words, and they may not use the words amnesty, although I think they would. But it's believable enough. And a lot of people think there's no fraud going on. I don't know that there is or not. I do know, as I've said to you before, when Jimmy Carter was running for president, there absolutely was fraud, and that was in North Carolina, where I was at the time. People were complaining that when they would go in to pull the lever, they could only pull it for Jimmy Carter, and that was it. So, yeah, there is fraud, in my opinion. Some people are saying that what's being reported in Texas about the fraud is not true. I don't know. I'm not there. I would want to ask those people directly that are bringing the allegations. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. Let's just put it that way. It wouldn't surprise me. And it wouldn't surprise me either when you're talking about using these voting machines. It's so easy to manipulate those. In California, they did away with them, which was hard to believe that California would get away with them or do away with them, because you would think they would think, wow, this is a great way to keep the state Democrat. But they did, and then we went back to paper because it was, again, too easy to manipulate these machines. Too many problems with the machines, wasn't worth it. They can still do things with your ballot. They can stuff the ballot boxes. They can throw ballots off to the side of the road, whatever the case may be. But, I tell you, it's just a mess. Can I put it that way? It's just a mess. And who knows what's going to happen. But I think, as far as getting back to Kelly, when she went off on, if Donald Trump is a sexual predator, it was funny too, in my opinion, when Newt was trying to bring up some facts about Bill Clinton, what he had done, who his friends are, his sexual predator friend, and tried to get her to even admit that, to say the words, Bill Clinton is a sexual predator. She really got incensed there. She couldn't say it. She wouldn't say it. And the more he said it, the more she kind of looked at him like he had three heads. And I think it was interesting. Oh, and also she interrupted him. She wouldn't let him speak and say those accusations, and some that have been proven. She wouldn't allow him to say that, although when she started to speak about Trump, she certainly didn't want any interference from him. But it was also interesting at the end, Megyn Kelly, who always tries to, keep her cool because, I'm the professional here, and I can do that. At the end, I don't think Megyn wanted to end it the way she did, but I think she was sort of going over in her head, sort of thinking out loud in her head, if you will, and let the words come out of her mouth before she even realized it. So this is just a couple of seconds, but you have to hear what she said at the end.
We're going to have to leave it at that, and you can take your anger issues and spend some time working on them, Mr. Speaker. Thanks for being here.
And you too.
And wasn't that fascinating? I mean, she went from being an attorney to being a psychologist all in one segment. Sorry, Megyn, I think I have one up on you there because I was a former practicing attorney, and I am currently a licensed psychotherapist. I don't know that you have that license, but I guess apparently you think you do because you were telling Newt what he had to do with his quote-unquote anger issues. And that's funny because you didn't say there if Newt has anger issues or accusations of. You just leveled it right out there for all of us. Anyway, I'm joking. But as you can see, this election cycle has been the most hotly debated cycles I've ever seen. It's crazy. It's going to get crazier right up until the day of. And there's a school in Maine. Some of the schools there, they're deciding they're going to close the schools on the day of voting because they're just afraid of what's going to happen. There's just too much going on, too much emotion involved in everything, and they're just going to close it down. Interesting. I don't know. Since voting is during the day and the results aren't until the evening, I'm not sure the logic and all that, but maybe they think people are going to have fist fights right out on the school lawn. But if that happens, it's probably only because the Clinton campaign group has caused that to happen. They've probably paid people to come to schools to start fighting on the lawn. Because, as we know in WikiLeaks, and that Megyn didn't point out last night, that's what the Clinton campaign has done. I mean, we already know that Obama has lied to us and continues to lie to us and continues to lie about the fact that he didn't know that Hillary had a private email server. That nobody seems to really care about any of this. I don't know what this woman has to do. I don't know what has to be said to the American public before they realize how dangerous this woman is and how crazy she is and how corrupt she is and how she's stealing right out of their pockets. I don't understand that. I mean, there are people I know, relatives of mine, I'm sorry to say, that went out early voting and they voted for Hillary. And I don't get it. Other than the fact when I questioned those relatives before they went and tried to change their votes and persuade them that they were, crazy for doing it, they didn't know anything about Hillary. They hadn't heard much of the information. They hadn't heard really anything from WikiLeaks. And the little they did hear, they didn't care. It didn't matter. And some of them were, so I had one of them say to me, I didn't want to vote for Donald Trump because I was more interested in keeping America strong rather than making America great again. To me, that kind of like took the cake, and I just, at that point, had to end the conversation because it was so ridiculous that I didn't even get into it. I mean, why? I don't know. I turned and talked to the wall, got better results, and that's, I think, exactly what I'm going to continue to do when it comes to relatives who may have gone over to the dark side. I just don't. I don't know. Maybe this election has just caused everybody to lose their minds. Not sure. And, of course, not everyone, because I know you listening out there, you're not going to be voting for Hillary because you know better and you haven't lost your mind. So that's a great thing. And there's some news out today, too, that says there's a dead heat for Congress despite Clinton's advantage. And that's from ABC News. And, again, I don't know how much of it I believe because I don't know that Clinton really has an advantage. I know that's what they're trying to make us believe that she does. I don't know how much of that is true. They claim it is, again, it's ABC. So they claim that she's ahead, but no longer in double digits, and that the way it's looking, it's like the voters can divide their focus between the presidential campaign and the House and the Senate, so that they're not, just because let's say they vote for her, doesn't mean that at the same time they're going to vote against a Republican in the House and Senate, which would mean in some ways, because that if you're voting for Hillary Clinton, you're not voting for any Republicans. I mean, the chances are slim to none. What I think they're trying to say is I don't know if they're trying to say it, but it looks to me like that they're trying to, with the numbers, show that some Republicans have gone over to just vote for Hillary. I don't know if that's the case. I don't think there's very much that you can believe anymore, and I think it's best that you don't believe the polls and you just go out and you just keep doing what you're doing. I think a lot of people have said, yeah, but look at this too. Hillary has nobody show up to the rallies, or McCain has 30 people that show up. I know that's a good sign for those people who don't like Hillary and aren't going to vote for her, and it is a good sign. However, I want to remind you that I think in 2008, near the end of the campaign, I don't think that Barack Obama was getting as many people showing up. So I wouldn't put all my money on that, and I wouldn't put all my everything, and don't bank the farm on that, because, again, with the Clintons, they have so much money backing them, Soros money and a lot of other people, other billionaires, and sometimes the more ads that you run, the more it convinces people after they hear it long enough. I mean, isn't that what the progressives do anyway? They say things over and over and over until we've heard it 5 million times. And then after a while, some people say, well, maybe that's true. Maybe I should start listening to that. Or people hear it for the first time and say, oh, okay, now I guess I was wrong. I'll vote for Hillary. Ugh. Whatever the case may be. So you are going to have to get the word out yourselves, and you're going to have to keep putting things out on social media. I always tell people, please put the truth out there, though. Whatever it is, don't go to these websites that you don't even know the names of, you've never seen before, that make all of these allegations against Hillary, or they say that Donald Trump has done X, Y, and Z, and it makes him look really, really good, or whatever the case may be. Don't do that. If you can't verify those stories as best that you can, meaning you've heard it on at least one other website, don't print the stuff, because it in the end it makes you look ridiculous, and it doesn't support whichever candidate that you are supporting. It really doesn't. It just makes it look like everything else that you said is a lie. There's no credibility issue there for you. I mean, you just don't look credible, and you have to be careful about that. You really, really do, especially in tight races. It matters what we say. And I know sometimes people get mad at me because they're like, "Well, why are you posting that, Susan? Are you for Hillary?" I post what I find that I have tried to verify as much as I can that it is credible, and that's what I'll post. The truth is important. If Donald Trump does something that's ridiculous and gets himself into trouble, or whatever the case may be, and if it's the truth, I am going to post it, whether you like it or not, because it is the truth. And I also look at people as they have an ability, the majority of people still, have an ability to discern lies from truth. And I want them to be able to make their own decision. I don't want to be the one that leads them around by the nose as the progressives and the Democrats do. There's no sense in that. We have got to start standing on our own 2 feet and thinking for ourselves, rather than have somebody lead us around by the nose. We do that with our children a lot in public schools these days. We brainwashed them, we being those on the left, progressive left. That's not me, or you, but that's who I'm referring to when I say we. And we on the right, we allow it to happen. We don't go in there and demand that it be changed. We don't take kids out of public school and homeschool them. We just let things go. And it has brought us to where we are now, and has brought us to, having UC Berkeley have safe spaces and close down bridges to safe spaces and only allow people of color to use those bridges. Come on. You see where we have gotten, how far off track we have gotten. So, we've got to pull it in here, and we've got to start speaking the truth, whether people like it or not, and the chips will fall where they may. I mean, with Hillary, we're speaking the truth about her when these things come out in these emails, and even, like I said, even doing that, sometimes people don't care. They don't care about the truth. They have in their minds what they believe, and they're all set, and I don't know what it would take to make people look at her and go, I can't do it. I can't vote for her. We'll see what happens. I mean, pretty soon here, November 8th is right around the corner. It looks like, by all intents and purposes, that her health has improved, at least to the point that she can get through debates and look like she's present and physically able to be there. And, I don't know if they're giving her stuff to make her look like that, or if naturally she's feeling better and all the allegations about her being ill weren't true. Have no idea. It seems like a lot of people did come out and have their own opinions about the fact that she was not healthy, and some were doctors. Now, whether these doctors were paid by people on the right, I have no idea. I haven't seen anybody discredit them. Information I got was not from websites I'd never heard about. So I just don't know. I do know that in the unlikely event that everybody would go out and vote for her and she would become president, God forbid, that sooner or later, you can't hide that forever. Now, maybe she can stay and not go places and not do things and not come out in front of the public, and she can hide it that way. But at some certain point, when she's too many times that she has to come out in public as president, I just don't know how she's going to hide that. And it's going to be scary if she becomes president. The Middle East it's beyond heating up. It's getting to be at a boiling point. And again, we're not talking about it in the mainstream media, but Putin, who seems to be leading the charge over in the Middle East right now, hates her, absolutely hates her for what she did against Russia years ago when she was Secretary of State. If she gets in, if you think the Middle East is on fire now, get your fire extinguishers ready, because it's going to get so much worse. So much worse. And, again, we have an emboldened Iran who got all of that money. Now, that might be a plus for Hillary. Maybe they won't take it out on her so much because they got all that money from Obama, and I think maybe they can get more from her. Although Iran is not loyal. The government of Iran is not loyal to anyone, so I don't necessarily see that happening. But I don't know. It's hold on tight if she becomes president, because I think we're in for something to occur right away over in the Middle East. I think that Putin is going to want to have her show right away that what she's going to do, like what are her strategies. He's going to want to know that, and he's going to want to make her look really bad really fast, and it won't be hard to do. And I just think I foresee that if she should win. And again, I'm hoping that doesn't happen. I'm hoping that the American public, that they go out and they vote and they don't vote for Hillary, and that she doesn't become the next president of the United States. That would just be devastating for this country. And then people say, well, if that happens, is it over? We as a country, we as a people, we're stronger than that. I think that we will have tremendous uphill battles, maybe for the rest of people listening now, maybe for the rest of our lives, because I think she will demolish the Supreme Court. It will be the most liberal Supreme Court that has ever been put in place. I think there will be, if you think Obamacare, which is going to double, triple in the premiums now, which people on the right told everyone this was going to happen. Nobody really wanted to listen. I don't know how people who were paying right now, people who are paying for a family of 4 can't afford it now. And some of those people that were paying somewhere around, I think like $400 or so out of pocket each month, is now going to go up to around $1,900. You tell me how a family of 4 is going to be able to afford that. If you're on Obamacare, that probably means that you don't make that much money. That's why you're on Obamacare. How are you going to pay $1,900 a month? And they're not going to be able to. And what's going to happen is the government's going to say, okay, you're going to have to subsidize this. They're going to look for everybody with their hands out for you to subsidize Obamacare. And it's going to be more money out of our pockets, more people that we're having to take care of. Right now, California is taking care of illegals or anybody else who comes into the state and says, hey, I'm here, give me some money. They're taking care of them and giving them better health care than the veterans. So, what are we going to see? They're not going to allow that to stop the people that are already getting their health care. Because if that stops under Obamacare with, let's say, the illegal aliens or people from Syria or wherever, all they're going to do is run to the ACLU and say, I'm being discriminated against because I'm not getting my medical insurance paid for. And so then the ACLU will come out, and then the federal government will tell everybody, okay, we're going to have to we can't be politically incorrect here, and we can't be biased at all. We have to start paying out the nose again, and we get the money from you. Of course, when they are spending the money, it's not our money, it's their money. But when they're getting the money, it's our money, and they're getting it from us. Ugh. We're in such a bad position right now in this country. And if Hillary gets in, if you think Obamacare is bad, I don't know if you remember Hillarycare when Bill was president and she was trying to get that to push that through. I don't remember all the ins and outs of it, but I can guarantee you it was the biggest socialist program that you've ever seen, even bigger than Obamacare. And she seems to think, oh, well, we can get something better than Obamacare. So it'll be back to Hillarycare. And, if you think that you're going to be paying more out of Obamacare than you are Hillarycare, you're crazy. You just put it that way. And Donald Trump, I don't know what he's going to do. I mean, I've heard him say at times, we're going to replace Obamacare, and then the next time it'll be that he's going to do, it still sounds like he's going to be taking care of those people that make a certain level of income that they can't afford insurance, which, I don't know if that really is the case, or we just need to look at the insurance industry and make some adjustments. And I'm not talking about the government making those adjustments. I'm talking about the industry itself making adjustments that can come up with its own solution, maybe for helping people with certain incomes. Because, let's face it, if it's a capitalist society, which we're fast losing, we can come up with solutions if given the opportunity to. The last thing you want to do is have the government come up with a solution, because that's just going to mean that there will be people that are paying and most won't be paying, because that's the government solution. Let's just take from the rich and give to everyone else. And that's not fair. I'm sorry. I'm not rich, but if I were rich, I'm not. They pay a lot of taxes as it is now. And yes, I know they take money and they put it different places and, yada, yada, yada. But still, whether they earned it, whether it was passed down in their family, somebody at some point probably did earn it, or they have the money and it's theirs. I mean, I know we don't have ownership that much in this country anymore, because socialism, where there is no ownership, except, the people who are running the show, the elitists, they own everything. But we still have to value people, their property, what they own, as being theirs. Speaking of other things in regards to this election or Congress, whatever the case may be, I'm looking at Paul Ryan, and I know that FreedomWorks has asked that the decision about whether or not Paul Ryan should remain Speaker of the House should wait until after the election. And I think, it's not a bad idea. I thought about it in the beginning, and I just let's just get him out. but I think with everything going on, I think that maybe should wait. However, there's two things that kind of bother me here. One, if you wait, let's say the House and Senate say the same, and you wait until after the election, and let's just say, God forbid again, that Hillary should be elected. What's the incentive to get Paul Ryan out? Certainly, the Democrats are going to want him to stay in, because he does whatever they want him to do. He's been the water boy for Obama, just like Boehner was, so nothing really changed there. Hasn't done anything for the GOP that I've seen. Took a long time to support the GOP candidate for president. Kind of withdrew his support, if you will, recently when the groping allegations came out. And so if she goes in as president and gets elected, he's going to stay right where he's at, and he's going to continue to be the water boy, this time for Hillary instead of Obama. Now, if you leave him in and Trump is elected, I think there's a higher likelihood that Trump's he's certainly going to want him out, because Ryan has never been on his side and will put pressure to try to get him out. And I think the Republicans at that point would get him out. But I think that if you leave him in either way, you're taking a risk, especially if Hillary gets elected president. That's the only thing. Again, right now, if you made that decision now, I think that the Republicans and the Democrats and everybody else concerned who has to make that decision, it's just not going to happen. I mean, we're not going to do anything before the election. And it may be a distraction more than anything else. It may persuade people not to vote Republican, because you're going to see people going back and forth in the Republican Party and fighting each other. Oh, Ryan, he's such a saint. He's so great. Let's keep him in. Oh, he's so horrible. Let's get him out. So maybe they have a point there at Freedom Works. Maybe we should wait and flip a coin, hope for the best, and see what happens. I just know that for me, I never wanted Paul Ryan in the first place. I don't know why we got him, other than the fact it's politics, and other than the fact that that's who the Democrats wanted for sure. And I think they probably had a lot to do with it. And so the question is then, if not Paul Ryan, then who? And I'm telling you, I don't know. I don't know if there are any true conservatives left on the Republican Party. I really don't know. Honestly, I've even gotten to the point where I'm disappointed in Ted Cruz. Some of the things that he's done, some of the things that he said that, after everything went down, it was very disappointing. I'll leave it at that. Mike Lee may be the only conservative in the Republican Party. And he's so junior, I don't think that they would allow him to do it. He's not one of these people that are going to be persuaded like Paul Ryan, who somebody could come in and say, okay, Paul, this is what we want you to do, and it would be in your best interest, or whatever the case may be. I don't think Mike Lee, he's not that guy, so they're not going to want him doing that. So I don't know who we would pick. I really, really don't. I think it would be somebody else just like Paul Ryan. And of course, that's what the Republicans will say. Oh, well, there's nobody better. I mean, Paul is just so great. How about Rand Paul? He would be better. Anybody else, almost, in my opinion, would be better. And if you noticed, just when I said Rand Paul, when was the last time that you even heard anything from Rand Paul? Seriously, think about it. When is the last time you saw his name mentioned? When is the last time you've seen him on the news? When is the last time any radio show has talked to him? It is like the guy has disappeared from the planet. And he was somebody that was just so out in the public eye, and now he's gone. Okay, I know he's not running for president, but can't we utilize his skills someplace else? Someplace, anywhere, But no, disappeared. And really, I haven't seen all that many Congress members out in the news. It's like they are so quiet. I think they're all laying low because they know that most people are so disgusted with them that they just better hide out until after the election and hope they don't get elected, not kicked out of office and not get reelected. I mean, I think they're probably thinking, I'm not going to get reelected if I open my mouth, so I'm not going to say anything. And maybe that's a good thing. John McCain. Okay, Arizona, I know I pick on you every time, but why do you have John McCain there again? And yes, I know it has to do with money and power and all the power he holds there in Arizona. But for God's sakes, please don't keep voting that man back in another term. Sooner or later, he's probably going to die in office. He's so I don't know how old he is now, but you keep voting him back in, and he keeps sitting there somehow. I don't know. He's never going to retire. He's going to die right there in office. And I know people have different feelings about John McCain. I understand he was a prisoner of war and he served his country, and for that, I respect him for it. Everything else, not so much. And then I think we have to be able to divide, the person from the politics. And I think a lot of times we haven't been able to do that, and that's why we are in the the mess that we're in right now. And I think it's just time, get him out, get somebody else, please, get some new blood. I mean, you had somebody, Kelly Ward, who was running against him. You didn't vote for her. I don't know why. I don't know Kelly personally. I don't know too much about her. Maybe her campaign didn't run it well enough, or maybe, just maybe, she didn't have enough money. And John McCain had a lot of money, and maybe that's it. And it really is sad that our elections and who we get in are dependent upon that for the most part. I don't know how we change something like that, but that's the first thing that needs to be changed. That if you don't have the money, don't bother. I mean, that's how we got the Bushes. That's how we've got these, the Clinton dynasty. And God forbid, that's how we'll have the Obama dynasty. People with money just stay in power because they can. They have all of these people who are willing to support them, all of these rich billionaires willing to support them. And it just continues, and they keep going, and their children, keep becoming part of the whole dynasty. I mean, look at Hillary, look at Chelsea. Oh, my gosh. It's just got to stop. The corruption, somehow, somebody needs to stop the corruption. It's not going to be the FBI. That what we've learned with Comey and other people that he's worked with, and money that's exchanged hands for people who were running for a particular position. Those are allegations, of course, but it's come out in WikiLeaks in the emails. So, we need a major change. Are we going to get a major change? I don't know. And I know some people are trying to vote third party because they think this is the way to start the major change. I don't know that I agree with that. I think it's a good show, perhaps, a statement, perhaps, but I don't know that it's going to make any difference. And I don't know that it's probably better, in my opinion, to wait until after an election and to start a movement like that. You have 4 years to get that movement up and running, and you have a better chance than trying to show something now and maybe lose everything. And I know the people who are voting third party, they're not going to agree with me, and that's fine. But it's just, I don't see a point in that during this election. That should have taken place a long time ago, and it should take place for the next 4 years, regardless of whoever gets in. I mean, look at the issues in the Convention of States. I've heard that so long now. It seems like it's been 10 years. I know it hasn't, but I don't. When is that going to happen? We've seen we need 38 states, and I thought we were close, and it just seems like every day they're asking for more money, and we're keep moving forward. But what are we going to do with that? When are we going to start implementing these things? It's one thing to try to make a change, and I get all of it, but at some point we have to start making that change and not continue to talk about it. And for me, I'm just, and I don't have my finger on the pulse of the Convention of States, so I don't know what they're doing. I think they're very reputable. I do think what they're trying to do is very reputable position to have. But I wanted to just, let's go. Let's go. Let's get it on the road here. Let's move it along. Let's actually put something into place, and let's see if it's going to work. We're running out of time for this country. And I wanted to clarify a little bit a minute ago when I was talking about Comey. Here's what I was talking about, in case you haven't heard or in case you don't know what I'm talking about. The latest news is that, and this is a report out of the Wall Street Journal. Let me see if I can get this for you. Basically is that Virginia Governor Terry McAuliffe, a longtime friend of Hillary and Bill, steered money to the campaign of the wife of a top FBI official. And these are the latest allegations. Political organizations under Mr. McAuliffe's control gave more than $675,000 to the 2015 Virginia State Senate campaign of Jill McCabe, the wife of FBI Deputy Director Andrew McCabe. And Mr. McCabe is a director James Comey's right-hand man, and who helped oversee the probe into the allegations about the Clintons. So you can see that everybody sort of is in bed with everybody else. We have Bill and Hillary and some connections, whether directly or indirectly, to the FBI director. We have the DOJ. I just wish I could put this puzzle, together for you on a screen and just see all these people's faces and put them together. But we have the DOJ, who was Loretta Lynch, I should say, who was on an airplane with Bill. At the same time, there's an investigation of Hillary and possibly Bill, and the FBI knew about it, and the FBI, I'm going to turn this over to the FBI, and I'll do whatever they say. When, why not? What's there to lose? If everybody's in bed with each other, then nobody is going to do anything against Hillary. Again, it's hard to see all of this and know that this is out there, and that the American public is, not everyone, but like us, we're paying attention. But it seems other people either don't care, haven't heard about it, or it just not on their priority list. I don't know. I've never in my time. Now Richard Nixon, he was corrupt. He did what he did, but with Watergate. But I mean, my God, this is like in your face, blatant. We're doing it over here, woohoo, and they're not trying to hide it at all. And we're just sitting here going, oh, okay, well, I'm going to go out and vote for Hillary today. It's just, I don't understand it. I've done show after show. I've had Corsi on, Jerome Corsi, who wrote Partners in Crime about the Clinton Foundation. I mean, does it not matter if it says the Clinton Foundation? Does that not include Hillary? And is that not important enough to look at, to know how corrupt this whole Clinton Foundation is? You have people from Haiti saying, hey, they're taking our money. They're not doing anything to help us. I mean, what more does it take? Really, what does it take? Benghazi wasn't enough. I mean, it truly wasn't enough. Nobody cared about that. Nobody cared that these 4 people have died. When I say nobody, of course we do. I'm talking about other people. Ambassador Stevens, his sister comes out and said, oh, well, he knew the risks. And then, I don't blame Hillary for his death. Really? Gosh. I mean, were you estranged from your brother? Is that why you don't care? And then we find out that what he went back in there, in Benghazi for was not what we were told, that it concerned even more corruption. I mean, I don't know what it's going to take. I really, really don't. Because people like myself, and I know you too, you're probably blue in the face. You've said this so many times. You're like, nobody's listening. Why keep saying it? I keep hoping that if I keep saying it, that one person that'll make a difference, and maybe that one person will tell 2 people, and maybe 1 or 2 of those people will change their votes, something, anything. I just can't imagine how anybody out there thinks that under Hillary Clinton, the United States is going to be in great hands. I don't get that. I never will. I never will. So, like I said, I would, if I were you, keep on telling people as much as you can about Hillary and how corrupt she is. Make sure that when you're telling them what you're telling them, that you can back it up with some credibility, that you're not just putting junk out there from an unknown website that will come back to bite you, because people are going to find out it wasn't the truth, and then they're going to say, well, everything that you said isn't the truth. I mean, you have to be very careful. And if you have put something on there that you're not sure of, and it turns out to be an untruth, just simply say to people, gosh, you know what? Thought this was true. It isn't. This didn't happen. Clarify it. People make mistakes, and it's okay. You just have to let people know that you are out for the truth, and that is your main objective, is to get the truth out there. That's exactly what I do, what I want to do for you, and why I keep doing what I do. Just want to get the truth out there and let the chips fall where they may. I really want to tell you that I appreciate you so much being here. We have a great guest lined up for you next week on my Stand for Truth radio show on Mondays at 6 Pacific and 9 Eastern. I hope to see you on that show, and I'll be back again next week for another show here. Until then, God bless you. Take care of yourself. Have a good week. And don't forget to vote. The future of your country depends upon it.